Let's go ahead and move on to mouse and keyboard because there are a few bindings that you need to have in place before you get into the game. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's go ahead and dive into mouse and keyboard. Your first option is your mouse sensitivity. This is going to be based completely on your preference and your play style. Play around with the mouse sensitivities and see what feels best to you. Now, this may seem very low to some folks that are watching this out there, but that's okay. I prefer to be able to move my arm when I need to do long range or when I need to move very quickly. And if I need to do something more precise, I prefer to move my wrist. So this allows me to do that. The other thing that you need to take a look at when it comes to your mouse sensitivity is the DPI on your mouse. So I have a Logitech mouse. I have a Logitech keyboard, and my mouse is at 1200 DPI. I got rid of all of these other options that are on here. The mouse, report rate is at the highest it can go, and my DPI is 1200. I recommend you do the same sort of situation with your DPI. It should be the same. This way it's consistent from one game to the next. And then in Apex, mess around with your sensitivity to whatever your preference is. Please, for the love of God, turn off mouse acceleration. You don't need that. If you invert your mouse, you're a crazy person. Turn this off. Clamp mouse cursor to game window. So if I'm running in full screen, my mouse cursor will not accidentally go to my second monitor. So I have that on. Lighting effects on the mouse, I have it off in Logitech. I have it off in here, I think. In Light Sync, it's all off anyway. Yes, I have a Shroud mouse. It's awesome. I love it, by the way. But yeah, turn it off. You're trying to look and shoot at someone's head. You don't need to be distracted by pretty rainbows. Turn it off. Let's go ahead and move on to movement. Everything here is pretty much going to be standard. Crouch, toggle, and crouch hold is probably going to be the first place where you are going to see some differences here. So crouch toggle is what I'll use when I am sliding down a hill. So if I'm going down a hill and I want to slide, I just tap C and I slide all the way down. However, if I am in a fight and I want to bounce my head around a little bit, I can tap my left control button and it will do that. I have this backwards. I know most people don't. The reason why is because I played a lot of Overwatch, and in Overwatch, ultimate is Q. So in this game, ultimate is Q. That's what it is for me. That's what it's going to be in every game that I play. My ultimate is always going to be Q. Therefore, by default, my tactical ability is going to be E. I also have a second button for my tactical ability, which is mouse 5. And the reason why is because if I'm playing a hero like Revenant, who has a tactical ability that charges, a movement jump or, a sort of movement ability, it becomes very difficult to do that when I'm pressing the E button and I'm trying to strafe or move around. So this, if I put it on mouse 5, it allows me to use that, and it's pretty nice. Interact and pick up. This is the first area where I really want you to think about what this button is going to be. You need to know where this button is. You need to not forget it. And it needs to be very comfortable. You are going to use this button 1,000 times in every single match. So put it someplace that's very comfortable, very natural, and someplace where you will not forget about it. So if you get to someplace, you're like, how do I interact with this? Oh, I'm dead. Don't let that happen to you. Put it someplace where you know where it is. I also recommend having your interact and pick up button on mouse down. This can be very helpful if you're fighting for loot in the early game and you and an enemy land on the same supply bin. You can pick up everything in that supply bin by waving your mouse across the screen and scrolling down as fast as you can. So when you do that, you just pick up everything. This is also how you can open supply bins at the same time that are very close to each other, is by using mouse down. Moving on to alternate interact. This is kind of where I wish Respawn would give you the tooltips up here, because what this does is it allows you to pick up something and put it directly into your inventory. Because if you just pick it up, the game's going to try to auto-equip it for you, which is fine. That's what it is. That's what it does 90% of the time, and that's fine. But if you want to pick up something and have it just go into your inventory and not auto-equip on your gun, you would use X. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some weird situation. I don't really use this. To be honest, I don't use it. If I pick up something and I don't like it, I just manage my inventory by hand. Inventory toggle. Make sure that this is in a place that is just like Interact. It needs to be comfortable. You can't forget about it, and you need to be able to use it all the time. So managing your inventory is something that we are going to talk about in a future episode, but pulling up your inventory should be something that is very quick and easy. Mine's Tab, because that is what I've done in every game that I've ever played. Your map should be on something that is also pretty standard M. You can put that someplace else if you want, but M is fine. Toggle fire mode. So if you have a gun, such as the Prowler, and you get a hop-up for the Prowler called Select Fire, you can switch the fire mode between semi-automatic and automatic. You need to be able to do that with this shortcut key. Go ahead and press B, and it will do that for you. Aiming down sight. I prefer to hold my right mouse button to aim down sight versus clicking it, which is what it would be if I wanted this here. The reason why is because when I hold it, I feel like I'm gripping my mouse a little bit tighter, and it allows me to make more fine or more precise movements. Melee, if you want that, I don't have that. I don't actually use V to melee. What I do is if I need to melee, I press 3 to pull out my fists, and then I just left click. But if you need to melee quickly, you can put that right there. Only we need to talk about reload. Cycle weapon, don't really need that. You only get a couple of guns, so just use 1 or 2 for your guns. That's it. You don't need to cycle them. 3 is what will holster your weapons. This will put your guns away, and you can run a little bit faster, so make sure you have that and you're aware what that is. Equip grenade. I have that on G, so if you just need to use a throwable, you just press G. If you press and hold G, it will pull up the wheel, and then you can select your grenade from there. Survival item. Very important. Let's talk about survival items for just a moment. There are 3 survival items in the game. They do not impact your inventory space. They go into their own slot on your tab screen. The 3 survival items are heat shields, evac towers, and respawn beacons. A heat shield is a survival item that protects you from the damage that you receive if you are outside of the play area. When you press your survival item, the heat shield will pop up. You click and it will throw down a dome of safety around you. It's important to note that heat shields do have health, which you can see in the bottom middle of the screen. The more damage the storm does, the faster the heat shield will deplete. So toward the end of the game, you won't be able to use a heat shield in the storm for very long, so keep that in mind as you plan your rotations in the game. Evac tower. The evac tower is your own personal jump tower. It's really helpful if you get caught in a bad situation and you need to evacuate, or if you are a little bit behind and the circle is catching up to you and you want to get a little ahead of it, you can use it. When you use it, it's going to throw, you have to click where you want it to go, and then a big balloon will shoot down from the sky and a rope to the balloon will appear. You press your interact button on the rope, you fly up the rope, not a very long distance, and then it shoots you at a very high rate of speed so you can start to move. That balloon can be shot down, so just be aware that it does have health, and if you see someone using it, you can kind of mess them up and tell your team like, hey, there's an evac tower there, take it down. Like, you can shoot it down. And it also has a timer, so it doesn't stay around forever. Once the timer hits 0, the balloon pops and your evac tower is gone. If the timer hits 0 when you are on the rope and you're traversing upward to jump, it will stay there until you launch. So once you launch and it's at 0, then it will just automatically destroy and it's gone. Very helpful to have at least one member of your party, one member of your squad with an evac tower. It saves your life, and it's just an amazing piece of equipment. I recommend always having one. It's just good, a good rule of thumb to have it. Now, respawn beacon is a little bit more situational. You don't always need a respawn beacon because there are respawn beacons already planted around the map. You just run to them. They're the green icons that are on the map, and once we talk about the UI, you're going to see that. But what if there's nothing? They're only one-time uses. There's nothing that's around me. I can't bring my teammates back. this is where you would use a respawn beacon. When you press your survival key, a respawn beacon will, you click and you tell it where to go, and then it will pop down, and then you can just hold your use key on it, and you will bring your teammates back. Sometimes there is a respawn beacon that is available, but maybe it's really risky. Maybe you know that there's like 2 teams that are around you, and you maybe don't want to respawn here. Maybe you want to respawn someplace that's a little bit safer, someplace that's closer to cover, because I can tell you this, from how I play, and also from my own personal experience, when a respawn comes in, it is like ringing the dinner bell. Everyone comes running towards you because you are in a very vulnerable state, but you still give lots of RP. You still give the same amount of RP to those players. So it's very easy for people to rank up by killing people that have just respawned. So just be aware of that if you're respawning, people are going to come to you. This is why it's also helpful to have a respawn beacon someplace on your, somewhere in your squad, because if you have someone that survived, maybe you can run to like a corner of the map or the edge of the circle where you know it's quiet, and you can bring your teammates back so they can loot back up a little bit. Put your survival item on a button that you will not forget. It does not have to be in a very comfortable spot. You are not going to use it every game. You are not going to use them all the time. But when you need to use it, you need to know what button to press. Mine is on tilde, which is to the left of number 1. You can put it on whatever you want, of course, but I would recommend having it someplace where you won't forget. And if it's a little bit out of the way of your normal setup, I think that's fine, because it's not something that you use too often. Health item. Hold down number 4, and that will pull up your health wheel, and then you can use whatever health item you have selected. If you would like to use a specific health item, then you can just press these buttons. That's what they do. I don't personally do this. What I do is I always have my heal item as a shield battery, as that is going to be the most commonly used health item. And then if I need to use a different health item, I never have been in a situation where I am so pressed for time that I can't just select it and press 4, or like, you know, oh, I need to use a syringe like right now. Like I can just select syringe from the wheel and it's fine. I've never had to use a syringe like that, but whatever, maybe you do. Character utility action. So as an example, I like to play Vantage. Vantage has a specific action that calls her little bat back to her. That is what H will do for me. I don't use it, you know, when I play Vantage, I do use that pretty often, but it's not like I need to have it available in combat, so I don't mind it being that far away from me. Inspect weapon. Hey, if you want to take a look at that skin you got ripped off for, go ahead and press N. Communication. If you would like to thank your teammate, if you would like to use your emote wheel, or if you would like to select a perk, that's going to be the button that you press. I have mine on F2. That's just what it is. Put that wherever you want. It is not something that you will need to use in an emergency, but it is something that you will need to know where it is. So put it someplace that is around where you're going to play. Doesn't need to be super comfortable, but yeah, wherever you want. Ping. This is something that needs to be very comfortable. This is a button that you need to make sure that you do not forget where it is. If you are anything like me, maybe you don't like talking to strangers. Maybe you don't like to use your microphone in every game. Maybe there's people that are sleeping next to you and you don't want to talk. You still have to communicate. The ping system is going to help you do that very easily. The ping system in Apex is actually amazing. Overwatch tried to copy it, and it's just so much better in Apex Legends. Put your ping button someplace where you will not forget it, and it's very comfortable, and use it, use it, use it. Please ping things in the game. Even if you don't say a word, for the entire match, just ping stuff. Ping where enemies are. Hey, I found a gold item, ping it. Here's some shield batteries, ping it. Put ping someplace where you will remember and use it. I have it on F, I also put it on my middle mouse button for some reason. I don't know why it's there. I just use F. You can also, when you hold the ping button, it will pull up the wheel, the ping wheel, and all of these will be there. So you don't have to, individually bind these. You can just, hold down F and then select whatever you want to do. Push to talk. We talked about that. Please do not have an open mic. Put your push to talk button someplace where you can press it and it's not going to mess you up. Message team in match. This is your standard messaging to your team. Just press enter. Miscellaneous screenshot. You don't really need a shortcut key for this. If you're on PC, you can hold down the Alt button and press the print screen button, which is in the top right-hand corner of your keyboard, and that will take a screenshot for you. You can then paste that screenshot anywhere you like, in Word, in MS Paint, whatever. Private match observer. We won't have to worry about this since we will not be observing private matches, so I'm just going to skip all of this, and that is going to actually do it for the mouse and keyboard section. That is going to do it for mouse and keyboard bindings. If you watched all the way to the end of the video, thanks very much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. In the next video, we are going to be going over the UI quite extensively, so look forward to that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.